Welcome to our last midweek uh, Lenten program. We're glad that you all can join us, and it is. I'm just pinning myself here.
Welcome to our
So-
last midweek Lenten program.
There we go. So we've been having fun, and I have really, as much as I miss seeing you all in person and being able to be together, of course, for soup and some excellent food each Lenten season. At least this is something that we can do to be together in community, and I'm really grateful for our last. For our special three speakers and the program that we've been able to do, and for all of you being able to tune in virtually and to be together in community, and hopefully in learning a little bit more about how we think through the concept of hope and how that might be a little bit more played out in our lives, and as we said, put some flesh on it. So tonight will be a little bit different, but it will focus on hope in a way. And here is again, the theme. This was, again, something that we've used from from Sanctified Art, and used some of their poetry and
I don't know if you
other things. I think I might, before I do, just gonna mute you all for now. Okay. So we've used some of their wonderful artwork that we focused on in some poetry and other liturgies. And just a reminder that, again, as we looked at this theme and this idea that hope comes in many different ways, from the mind, the body, the heart, and the spirit. And again, I don't know if you can see that, or if I'm in my screen, I need to minimize myself. But again, putting these symbols for heart, mind, body, and spirit, and having those each individually. And we might think about how we've explored different aspects of hope, hope in international mission, hope in local mission in Lazarus House, and of course last week, hope in international mission with the Reverend Chris Giesler and the Border World Mission. Hope through those things of that the mind and the spirit can rest in, as in art and some of the poetry and beauty around us. And this week, kind of focusing a little bit more on body and maybe the everyday, but just in hope in maybe in the simple practices, maybe in a hobby, or maybe in just simple tasks that need to be done, but where hope can be found in just in some things that we might take for granted, or some simple hobbies, but how maybe we find our passion in different ways. And kind of along that line, this is something I wanted to do. Oh, well, before we get there, give a little preview on what. I'll just go back here. This is something I wanted to do last year, and because of COVID, we didn't have a chance. And it was something that we certainly needed to be. We were going to be actually making pretzels, but we'll be talking a little bit about the art of pretzels and how that was introduced first, according to many historians, as a Lenten practice. And again, seeing kind of hope embodied through this act of a what we think of as a simple snack. But before we begin our time together, I wanted to begin with a song, and this was something I was talking to Sophie about it, and I'm glad that she was willing to sing it for us. It's one of our favorite hymns, and we've sung this, I think, definitely a few times in church. And in the bulb there is a flower. And when I think of hope, I think of the words in this hymn, especially the words of there's a dawn in every darkness, bringing hope to you and me. So the understanding that even when we can't see in the darkness or in the bulb or in the seed, to understand that there's something more, and maybe to be content with that mystery for now, but something God alone can see. So feel free to sing along, and we'll listen to In the Bulb There Is a Flower. So thank you, Sophie. I'll stop our sharing for a minute. Well, thank you very much. We're glad that you could share. That was recorded yesterday, if you're wondering why she's not singing. So again, we talked about the practice of pretzel making, and I have to kind of segue with this very, very short video. If you watched, who watched The Big Bang Theory? Sure, a couple people? No? Yeah. All right. So I had to show this clip just before we begin and learning a little bit more about the art of making pretzels and why that has something to do with Lent. And if you've seen The Big Bang Theory, you might know Sheldon Cooper has a show called Fun with Flags, where he highlights different flags from different countries. And so this was the episode on Bavaria. So you need to just see this and hear about pretzels. It's 30 seconds, and then we'll learn a little bit more about pretzels. So, oh my gosh, I'm really out of order. Before we begin that, I wanted to begin actually. Sorry, I forgot that slide. That we think about pretzels, and you'll hear more about this later, but I did want to share this fascinating picture, which I found when doing a little bit research of just how old pretzels might be and if they were connected to the Lenten season. And this is something I found from, I think, around the 11th century, of course, depicting what probably is the Last Supper and the Passover meal. And if you can see there, according to what I found, a depiction of a pretzel sitting on the table. So kind of an interesting way to think about something that we don't think of as being that old or maybe connected to religious practices. But here it is, just for your moment of amusement.
Guten Tag, das YouTube. Ich bin ein Bavarian.
Und ich bin eine Pretzel.
Und this is Sheldon Cooper Presents Fun
Mit
Flags.
Okay, so why pretzels and why Lent? Very short but informative video about the art and practice of pretzels from their beginnings.
Have you ever wondered why pretzels are twisty and loopy?
Consider your curiosity about to be satisfied.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
I hear you, George, but why they make you thirsty is a topic for another day. It's often suggested that the shape and perhaps the origins of the pretzel itself goes back to the early 600s and an Italian monk. As the story goes, he twisted the dough into a form that resembled a person with their arms crossed, the customary position for prayer at that time and place. Those treats were given to children who had successfully completed their lessons and were called pretiola, which translates as little reward. While some dispute the authenticity of the story, it is widely agreed that Catholic Church holds a prominent position in the pretzel story. According to History.com, the pretzel was extremely popular during Lent as it could be made with just water, flour, and salt. At that time, food restrictions were much broader than they are today, with dairy, eggs, and meat of all kinds being prohibited during holy season.
Pretzels.
The pretzel's shape was also considered significant, as its holes had come to signify the Holy Trinity. As the snack spread throughout Europe and eventually into the United States, the meanings attributed to the twists and loops expanded as well. Over the centuries, the pretzel has served as a symbol of luck, longevity, and prosperity.
You said you wanted pretzel?
Okay, it's kind of a weird ending. So again, the understanding of pretzel, of this little treat, and founded as something much more than a snack, but the understanding of the arms in prayer and the kind of way that maybe hope, or you might say prayer, was embodied through the simple act of making a snack like a pretzel. So this got me thinking about what I thought we could do today, and then we'll come back to close with a prayer, and we'll come back together. But what I thought we could do today was to form ourselves into some small groups. And while I don't expect you all are pretzel makers, but maybe baking might be something. But think about if there is a hobby or just a simple task that when you do it, you feel like you're able to bring about hope through your body. And it might be just something that you've been passionate about, or it really could be just, something that you do, but you do with so much passion. And like I think of, and we think of our midweek Lenten programs, I think of soup making. That it's something that brings me a lot of joy and kind of the excitement of creating something new is often. So I'm sorry I can't make soups this year. But I thought we'd kind of end this with a little bit more time in small groups, and then come back together in our larger group and maybe share a little bit, and then I have a closing prayer and reflection, and maybe we might practice praying like the pretzel as well. So if that sounds okay.